Hello, everybody out there in New England. My name is Jeff Bradbury, and welcome to the Google Educator Group of New England November monthly meetup. Today, we're going to be talking all about things you didn't know that you can do with Google Sheets. I am so happy that you guys are here. We have an entire bunch of Google educators from the swing states of New England, and we are here to be talking to you guys today. We are live on LinkedIn, we are here on YouTube, and we are broadcasting live on Facebook and Twitter. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. If you are watching live, do us a favor. We want to hear from you guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment. We will put your comments in there in the bottom, and we will make sure that you guys are all set and having fun today. Are you ready? Wait a minute. I didn't hear you. Are you ready? Well, that was the wrong button. But let me bring on all of our Google educators. How is everybody today? Jen Thomas, it is so good to see you. Welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a little bit of a lively discussion tonight, and I'm looking even more forward to a little bit of a Thanksgiving break next week.
I know we are all looking forward to that Thanksgiving break. I'm looking forward to having some good times here. I'm also looking forward to hearing what Eric Lawson is doing up in Maine. Eric, what are you doing right now, and how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Jeff. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm just excited about tonight's magic with sheets.
I'm sorry, what?
Can we say that on air?
Yes, we're having a wonderful time with Google Sheets. Jolie, how are you tonight?
Hi, I am wonderful. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love discussing Google Sheets. I'm a huge fan. Use them every day.
Very nice. And Edith Fogarty, how are you tonight?
I'm well, thank you.
And what is going on up in your world? You are Rhode Island? No, wait, you are from?
I'm in Vermont.
Vermont. Up there. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing these days.
Oh, I'm really excited about Google Sheets. I don't use them every day like Jolie does, but the lesson I'm going to share tonight, I actually have been working on with my third graders lately, so I'm excited to share it.
Looking forward to that. And last but not least, from teachingforward.net, Miss Jen Judkins. Jen, how are you tonight?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this topic, Jeff. I love talking about Google Sheets and I love getting people to think about them differently. So I'm super pumped because so many people think Google Sheets are scary and only for accountants, but we are here to prove you wrong on that.
Oh my goodness, you are absolutely right. So many people are out there going, I don't get it. It's just a spreadsheet. What can we do? And even in the coaching world, every time I walk into a classroom and somebody says, you want to teach my second graders spreadsheets? And I'm like, yes, there's so many great things. First of all, let's just talk a little bit about who we are. Jolie, can you share a little bit about what is a Google Educator Group in New England?
Absolutely. Well, a Google Educator Group is a bunch of like-minded educators that like to get together and volunteer to discuss Google Workspace for Education. And Google Educated New England is a group. It's gegnewengland.com, and you can join our Google group. You can post your resources, ask questions in the chat, and join us for our monthly meetings. And we have a lot of fun resources and newsletters on our website.
I'm sorry, we have a what on our website? We have newsletters. Tell us a little bit about the wonderful newsletters that we have.
Absolutely. So if you click on our newsletters page, you will be able to access our monthly newsletters where we share the latest updates in the Google Workspace, some spotlight activities, upcoming events, our resources, and just anything that has caught our attention over the last few weeks.
You can, of course, find out all the information about this over at gegnewengland.com. That's gegnewengland.com. But before we get into all that stuff today, we are talking about things you can do with spreadsheets. Jen Judkins, I know you were excited about this topic. How do we get other people excited about spreadsheets?
I think this is going to be a great way to do that because I think people just need to see them in a different light and in a different use case. So I think that people will be excited to hear and see some of the examples that we're sharing today that show that spreadsheets aren't really just about formulas that are complicated for people to understand or numbers, but they can be used in so many unique ways. I think that really just showing people examples, and whenever I am able to show people Google Sheets in new ways, they walk away just surprised and amazed with what's possible in Google Sheets. And I think in some ways it's similar to how we've done this with slides, where people think of them as linear presentations. And And Google Slides is, I feel like, a Swiss Army knife tool also that way, that there's so many ways that you can use these tools. And I love helping people to think outside the box on a tool like a spreadsheet tool that can be used quite differently and at different ages as well.
Now, the one thing that people think about with spreadsheets is data, numbers, analyzing, and visualizing, and it's not difficult to do. Christina, you've got some great suggestions on how we can learn how to analyze and visualize with like a few clicks, don't you?
I do. As one of the really nice things is to let the tool do as much of the work for you as you possibly can. So if you have a table already set, and that's usually the easiest part of it, but you want to make it into a table or something like that, you can use that little explore button. Look on the bottom right-hand side of your spreadsheet, and you'll see that little explore button. And when you click on that, it opens up the right side navigation, and it gives you some questions that it kind of generates through an algorithm. It will allow you to do some automatic formatting, maybe make a chart that you can then embed right into there. And I've used this quite a number of times. You could highlight just some of that chart, some of that table, and explore just a piece of it too. The new one is this column stats. That's new, I think, within the last month or so. That's been rolling out into domains, and that's a really nice one, where you can just click on the top of a column. So you click on, the letter P or O or wherever you are, and you look for data and then column stats. And again, it opens up that right side navigation, and then you can just arrow through the columns if you want to, but it kind of summarizes everything right there. Really, really nice. There's also data cleanup suggestions that are also in the menus as well that have showed up, but let the tool do the work for you.
Now, Christina, this is really easy looking,
Super
right?
easy.
If
Click
you
a
were
button and have it happen. Yeah.
if you were working with a grade level, right? How early could you do this? I would imagine like third grade, maybe. If
Sure.
you
If you're
gave them the sheets, they can push the button, right?
Absolutely. And honestly, they can do some of the really simple tables. If you're doing something really, really simple, and they're doing some data collection, even if they're just asking each other questions like, what's your favorite color? That's a great introduction to tables. Third graders are a lot more capable than you think.
I think this is pretty cool. Guys, what do you think about something like this? I mean, are spreadsheets scary for you? Do you remember a time when spreadsheets were scary for you? And wouldn't you, this is a great tool here, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all nodding our heads here, Jeff. I think that spread for those listening, they're like, I don't know what's happening right now. I think that what's really fantastic about sheets and thinking differently, like Christina's sharing about the formulas, is some of the really powerful things that can be done with formulas, finding easier ways to do that. As educators, there's so many more demands on us in terms of our ability to use data to inform our instruction. So even those of us that had been able to escape really working with data and spreadsheets, I think there is no corner to hide in anymore, particularly in this year of COVID, when we're really trying to assess kids in on a very regular basis, and being able to get that information whittled down into graphs or other things to understand what does this giant spreadsheet of numbers and kids' names really mean for me in my teaching. Using tools like Christina's sharing, the Explore tool, really lowers that burden on teachers for not requiring their knowledge of formulas or creating charts, but automates, kind of looks at that data and helps them to see it in a way that will help them create actionable plans for their kids.
Now, Christina, you have a secret weapon, I believe, when it comes to learning spreadsheets. It's a secret weapon that I got to tell you, I follow too. You've got some more stuff going on here. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on this slide, and then yeah, this guy here, he's one of my secret weapons as well.
Absolutely. This is Ben Collins, and he is and I mean the in big capital sparkly letters, the guru for Google Sheets. And he does a tips email that goes out every Monday, and get on his email list and see what he pushes out. Sometimes they're really over my head because I'm I'm still kind of in the beginner side of the pool for Sheets, honestly, because there's so much that can be done. But he also has some free classes. He does have some paid classes. I think they're all worth it because he's fantastic. But he also does SheetsCon, which is, kind of like that whole day where they do just sheets and session after session about sheets. And that one's really fantastic too. I'm waiting to hear information if he's going to do it this year. Of course, COVID messes everything up. And the other one here too is Educator Alexander. So this is Dr. Alexander. Her name is Desiree. She is a Google innovator and she puts out a lot of great stuff too. And this is from her YouTube channel. And this is about a little bit less than 7 minutes, and it's 10 Google Sheets tricks to make data more visual. And that's what we're trying to do, right? Is make that data visual so that you can understand it and share it and have other people have access to it, because numbers just by themselves can be scary and overwhelming to people. So these are kind of two really, really great places to look for more information. And you can be on any any place on that spectrum of skill and find something within these two spots.
These are two great examples of places that you can go to find things. And if you have any friends out there that are in the spreadsheet business, let us know. Use that comment button below. We would love to share that you guys are here. And of course, hit that subscribe button and hit that forward button. We would love to have you guys share with everybody else that we are here. This is Google Educator Group New England. And you know what? I was talking to a teacher the other day, and she says, how do I get my kids to do something on their mobile devices? Jen, you've got a couple suggestions of how mobile devices and spreadsheets go together. How does this all work?
I know, Jeff, it doesn't even make sense, right? Why would those two things be in the same sentence? But
right.
Google Sheets really can be the data source or the behind the magic curtain for the creation and use of apps. And one of the tools that I have found and used effectively is the Glide app, Glide. Glide app is it's available in a paid version, but there is a really very robust free version available. And teachers or school administrative staff have effectively used this to create things like we've used it on our PD days to create PD catalogs for staff to look through. I've used it to as an alternative presentation tool in classes and conferences to share information, because if information can be stored, for example, maybe a staff directory where you've got a column of a teacher, a name of a staff person, and a column with their role and a column with their school, think about how that could work as an interactive app where you could filter that information by school or search by name and even have a picture of that person or a link to their website. And the Glide app has templates available that you can use to start from, so you don't have to create from scratch. And it's incredible because the app is actually public facing and can actually be a picture on your phone that you click on and it launches the tool. And so it really is exciting for students too when they've used this and created with it, because they see their creation. I was thinking about preparing for this show and thinking that as a group, it would be really fun to do a no code, activities kind of session in a future GEG, podcast and show, because I think that these are the kinds of examples of things that are no code, but yet create an actual product, which is so exciting for kids. And under the hood, behind the scenes, all of the data that's being fed into it is coming from a Google Sheet.
Now, Jen, with this, is this something that we need to be worrying about student privacy, or is this more like the teacher signs into this and the students just work on the spreadsheet level?
So in my experience, I've been using it as a teacher and not having students use it, at least younger students. I'm pretty mindful of kids registering for accounts, and we in our district require, and I require as the tech director for teachers to only use tools that we have a Stein data privacy agreement for, and we don't have for this because it's we're using the free version. There are some things about it that would make me hesitant for students, not scary, but just, not meeting a high standard that we have around student data. But students can interact with it because it really is just a public link that doesn't require a sign-in. And so in that way, they can certainly use and interact with it. If you were to create it in a way that provided, for example, choice activities for kids, where you have different choices on the app and they click on the choice and it expands the directions and links available to them. These are ways in which I've used it in classroom situations, but also as an administrator in a district for, as I've said, staff directories, PD catalogs, and such.
Now, one of the things that we're looking to do here with spreadsheets is to not only expand, but also demonstrate some of the neat things that you can do. I know that there's something about a spreadsheet that is intimidating, right? You look at a spreadsheet and you're like, what do I do? How many of you guys, please raise your hands. How many of you guys are intimidated at like a blank spreadsheet? And you're like, I don't know where to start. I'm not sure. I've got all these things to do. Jen, you've got another tip for us. Talk to us a little bit about how we can put a lot of information into one cell so that way we don't have to like do the same thing over again like this.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, Jeff, that it's pretty simple and yet very powerful, and can really save a lot of time. So one of the things that I'm always mindful of as a person that uses and works with a lot of data is the consistency of that data. So if I'm asking someone to type in the name of their school so that later I can make a graph of that information, or create a filtered list of that data by a certain school, it's absolutely critical that the school be spelled in exactly the same way each and every time. I'm also mindful of the fact that people don't want to have to type out a long piece of information like Alta Vista Elementary School, but yet that may be what I want them to choose from. So you can create a drop-down list within a cell or series of cells in a column, and create a list of choices that you want to force people to choose from. And this can vary from column to column, and it's actually very, very simple. From the top menu of your Google Sheets file, you can choose the data option, and from that list, select data validation. And data validation will open up a little box for you to make a choice about what the data is that you want people to choose from. It can either be a list of items where you separate each item by a comma, example, listing the schools out, separating each one with a comma, or you can create it from a list of a range. So when you have a really long list of choices and you may be wanting teachers to enter assessment data for their class, you could provide a list of those students, a list of the entire student body in that school, and have that available in a drop-down list. And even if there are 500 kids, the teacher can begin typing the name and immediately be placed into the area of the list that has that student's name. So it ensures the name is spelled correctly and can be aligned with other sources, for example, your student information system and other places where it's so critical that the name be consistently spelled so it can be connected and used in other ways.
I'm learning a lot tonight. I don't know about anybody else out there. If you guys are learning a lot, do me a favor in the comments, give us a thumbs up, give us a whoop whoop. We want to hear from you guys, and we would love to make sure that you guys are out there, as we are here every single month helping out anybody interested in learning about these great Google tools. Now, one thing that you might be asking yourselves, and I know you guys are going to say, Self, what does Google Sheets have to do with graphic design? I don't know, but I know somebody who does know. Eric, you've got a little bit of things to show us tonight all about graphic design, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I have to admit, though, I got to have a shout out to my neighbor to New Hampshire there, Christina, for assisting me on this one. So she tossed it up so I could throw it down tonight. But if you've not used Canva, which is free for education, you should check it out if you haven't already. But Canva is one of those tools that's great for infographics, creating all kinds of different things, posters, presentations, designs that you can put into slides or what have you. But one of the cool features now in Canva is under elements and charts, you're allowed to bring in, or you can connect with Google Sheets. So you can take that data, you can visualize it and bring it in so that you can then create your infographics with the data inside of it, which is pretty dang cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's just all try that one again. Wow.
Wow.
That is pretty cool. I got to ask, does this process work with another company's spreadsheets, or is this just a Google-based function?
It might work with another company's, but I have used it primarily with just Google Sheets. But of course, you could probably get it to a Google Sheet before you brought it in if you had to.
That's pretty cool. And is it just number based? Do you have to have things formatted properly, or like what kind of data do I need to have before I play with this?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a routine chart with an X, Y axis, you certainly can bring that in, but you also have some options. As you can see in the GIF here, you can kind of select and pre-select certain parts so you can figure out which pieces of your spreadsheet you want to have brought into your visualization, which is pretty darn cool.
Hey, we just got a thumbs up for that. That's pretty cool out there.
All right.
So really cool. Thank you, Richard. It's good to see that you guys are out there. Let us know. Give us all a big, huge thumbs up. We would love to have you. You're out there. I don't know if you guys realize this. Canva is a free product for teachers. It's actually a free product for school districts. You can go, Canva EDU. They will even help you roster your kids. They are doing amazing things in education. I think I saw this one made me cry. I think I saw an article recently that said their founder and CEO is worth like $40 billion or something like that these days. It's just amazing. And it's all because of this kind of innovation, putting these different tools in the middle of people. If this is too intimidating for you, we have another option for you. And that is this amazing opportunity here to do pixel art. Edith, what are we talking about here?
Well, we were speaking earlier about the gurus out in Google World, and I got this idea from the amazing Eric Kurtz from out in Ohio, and he has an amazing website, Control Alt Achieve. If you do not follow him, I highly recommend you check it out. Anytime I'm kind of stuck on an activity to do with my students, I always see what new innovative ideas he has. And pixel art is something that I've used for several years with my students. I do integration, and so this is an activity I do as students are learning area in third grade. And it can actually be used across a variety of topics as far as math goes, because I've actually hyperlinked on our slide deck here the actual lesson, that the graphic there that says pixel art goes to his site and to that specific download. But the basic idea behind it is that the cells in a spreadsheet can be conditionally formatted, and Eric has done this for us in this particular lesson. So that if students type a certain letter and they usually correspond with the column header. So if they were to type a letter A, for example, it's going to, you can kind of see in the little color strip there on the slide, the A is going to turn it black versus I think M turns it blue. And so students can create art that is pixelated. And so it gives me a chance to also teach them about pixelation in their graphics. And then they're able to then calculate the amount of area that their particular design has that is white or blue or red. And so it can be as simple as, what is the area of my shape that is blue. The template that Eric has created also has it broken down as far as fractions go. And so there are smaller design areas. And so you can figure out, that, 4/64 of your shape is blue, for example. And so it's a really neat way just to get the kids involved in doing art, and they're doing technology, and then they're also doing math with it. My third graders were pretty funny the other day because they were like, "You're making us do math, but you're making us do art." So I made them do, they created little Thanksgiving designs using this. And then I was like, surprise, now you're going to find your area. So
that is an amazing tool to use. I've been doing pixel art like this with our students at school. We're making like Minecraft swords, but then we're taking the Minecraft sword and bringing it into curricular activities and seeing what we can do with these things. Has anybody else tried to do the pixel art game? I mean, it really is nothing more than just conditional formatting. You can do any color, any number, any letter. Jolie, did you just raise your hand there? You're good for this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I love creating activities in Google Sheets, and pixel art is a really nice way to introduce spreadsheets to our younger learners. And it's a lot of fun. So
now you just said younger learners, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I'm sure that people are wondering, how do we learn more about Google and younger learners? Is there going to be a time and place in the future where people can get together and learn how to use Google for our younger learners?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Jeff, because on December 16th, we will be offering another webinar called Google for Littles. So please join us at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And I hope you guys have a chance to check all that stuff out. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But it's not all about waiting for one more month. You can, in fact, wait 3, 2, 1 seconds. Here we go. Next slide. We can be talking all about using graphs.
So I just love Google Sheets. And when I introduce Google Sheets to our younger learners, I will often make these activity packets. So if you click on the graphic, it's going to open up a Google Sheet, and it's really an activity packet. So if you go ahead and click on that, you'll see that the cover image is there. It's kind of like the cover of the packet. And at the bottom, there are different tabs. So there are 5 different tabs on the bottom for students to click on. And I also add emojis. A lot of people don't realize that the tabs can be color coded. And if you right click on the tabs, you can also insert emojis. And that's great for our visual learners that need some type of cue. Another thing I do when I create these packets, so for example, if you click on the first activity, pictographs, right? So if you are introducing pictographs with students, I will insert formulas in advance. So for example, let's say we were taking a poll and we're asking students what their favorite spring flower is. And they're raising their hand. So let's say we have 2 votes for tulips. And if you go over to daffodils, let's say we took a poll and right next to the 2 in cell C, let's say 5 people voted for daffodils. Jeff, when you click there and you enter the number 5, the formula that I added is going to auto-populate the daffodils there for the students. So that's a really neat way to share this. So you'd have to have editing access, I guess, right there. But yeah, so I enter formulas and create these activities in advance. I also insert audio for our younger learners. So for example, there's a speaker there, and if they click, it will read the directions to them. It will clarify the directions for the students. So I really do like making these pre-made activity packets for students and having the graphs there. For example, on the 3rd tab, if you click on the bar graphs tab down below, there is a graph that is inside the sheet, but the formula has been cleared. So once students start entering the data, the bar graphs and the pie graphs will start auto-populating for themselves. So
I didn't know that you could do emojis on the tabs at the bottom.
Oh, absolutely. And it makes it very visually appealing for adults too, I think. Just makes it easy to see where everything is.
Okay, before we stop the show right here, can you remove the words and just have emojis, much like you can do it on the bookmarks up on top?
Absolutely. Yep.
Whoa, whoa. No, wrong one. Nope. There it is. That's awesome. I'll put a sticker on that one for next time. That is awesome. I did not know that you could do emojis down there.
You can.
That is awesome. All right, give us a thumbs up for that one. That is really, really cool. Eric, did you know that you can do emojis down there?
I did, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Let me try that again. Christina, did you? Wait, wrong buttons. Christina, did you know that you could do emojis down there?
Yeah, anywhere that you can do text,
Okay,
you can do emojis.
This isn't working. Edith, did you know that you could do emojis down there?
I didn't.
Me neither. My goodness. Oh my goodness. And you know what I didn't know that you could do with spreadsheets? I didn't know that you could do Mad Libs. And today we're going to find out how to do that. Go ahead, Jolie.
Absolutely. So if you click on that image, Jeff, it's going to open up the sheet towards the Mad Lib. And in this activity, oh, by the way, I did create that cover image in Canva and I imported it into Google Sheets. So I just love merging Canva with Google Sheets. But in this activity, students are completing one of those Mad Lib style activities. And once they put their answers in column B, down at the bottom, there's a second tab, which is the story generator. So I have an icon there too. This was something for Halloween. And using formulas, I'm able to take the responses from the first sheet and add it into the second sheet. And once students complete the Mad Lib, it will auto-populate in the story, and there will be a fun activity for them. So you can see the formula up in the formula bar right now. And it's very simple. And what I really like about this activity is if I want to, recreate the wheel, I just make a copy and I change the story and the colors and the theme. So it's really fun, and it's a great way to discuss the parts of speech and have fun as well.
That's awesome. That is really, really cool. So basically, this is one cell, and you've got the entire story here, right? Am I reading this the right way? And then it's just basically referencing the first tab.
That's it. Yep. Very simple to do, and it's a lot of fun. And
So
the laughter is just great.
So how do you recommend doing this? I mean, do you write this out on like a notepad first and then copy it in so that way it works? I mean, obviously you got more
I
words
use
here.
Google Docs, so I'll write the story in advance in Google Docs, and then I'll go through and I'll bold, the parts of speech that I want to be blank for students to replace, and then I'll just create the formula for the responses.
I love that. That is really, really cool.
It's a good time.
That is really, really cool. I love this stuff. You can, of course, learn so many things here on the Google Educator Group New England. I hope you guys have a chance to check all this stuff out. If you're out there, we got a lot of people right now on Facebook. We got a lot of people out there on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Let us know that we're here. And I second that, Eric. Who doesn't love Mad Libs? I completely want to go with that one. And you know what else I want to go with is, are there other games, right? Like, that's the question that I have today. Are there other kinds of games that you can do with spreadsheets? Does anybody have an answer to that one? Are there other kinds of games?
I do.
Jolie!
I just couldn't stop. I love Google Sheets so much. So I was teaching a coding lesson with students, and we were using, just the basic directionals to learn about computer programming and how it's a set of instructions to program a sprite. And it got me thinking about how I could use this with Google Sheets. So I did make this activity. I shared this with editing access for you right now. So when you click on it, you can actually see the formulas here. But once again, I make these activity packets, and at the bottom are all the different levels. So this was a Valentine's Day coding game that I created. And let's click on level 1. If you click on level 1, I merged the cells to kind of create the game board, and I added the little character. And although the character doesn't move, and there might be a way that some spreadsheet genius could teach me how to do this, but as far as I know, I can't make the image move. But what happens in this game is, so here the sprite needs to get to the box of chocolates, right? So you need to fill out the directionals. So if you click where the question mark is and you pick the first directional, which I used with data validation. So I think if you click on the word select, I think it's up there.
I'm still on view only.
Oh, if you hit refresh, it should be working. I thought I had there. Is it view only still?
Yep, I'm going to request edit access. We'll see if we can do this live. No pressure at all. No pressure at all.
Well, can you just go to make a copy right now? Maybe if you just do file, make a copy, it will be good. Because I did share it with editing access, and this is really neat. So I want to, let's see. But I did use the data validation there that Jen was speaking about earlier, where the students can click the directional signal, and that will auto-populate too if their response is correct or incorrect. So that is a lot of fun. I'm surprised that you don't have editing access, the things that go on right now. So if you click, yep.
I'm trying to. It's spinning. There we go. All right.
Oh, yay. So, okay, you're in.
Here we go. I know what we're doing
There we
tomorrow.
go. Yeah, so now you can see the drop-down menu. So
we're celebrating Valentine's Day. Okay, good.
Yeah, so let's say you wanted the character to move east or to the right. So if you click on select the drop-down menu right above the question mark, you're going to see the choices. Yep. So they can select that they would go east. Yep. And it turns green. So I use conditional formatting to indicate that the student got that answer correct. So it self-corrects for the students. So let's go ahead and complete the next. So next we would go, east again, or jump. You would jump. Oh, yep. You'd jump over. I think this was
Okay, so here's the question that's on everyone's mind, and just tell me that it's on your mind. How long did this take you?
So here's what's great. I feel like the first level took me probably a half hour, but because when you right click on a tab at the bottom, you can duplicate the tab. Go down to level 2. So this will self-correct, by the way, when they get to all the end. So go north twice, and the student will get a yep, and just one more, and then I put the mission complete, right? So now when you go down to level 2, at the bottom, all I did was duplicate this tab to create level 2. So then it was just, modify and move on. So I was able to complete all the levels within a short amount of time.
So how did you do this? Right? Sorry, I'm taking over the entire show again. So when all of these are equal, then this pops up. Is that the
Yep, and I used VLOOKUP for that. So VLOOKUP is when
Sure you did. Just go ahead. Yeah, we just did it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so on the last tab, there's the image links. And so if you go all the way down over to the right, yep, image links, that's where I have all the images that will auto-populate when I enter the formulas. So VLOOKUP will go to these tabs, will go to these links right here and auto-populate that image based on what the formula dictates. So
Jeff, I think what's really fun too to think about, or for people to think about that, are probably hearing this and thinking, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even know how to make this, is when you have a sheet that you can copy like this, you have the ability to kind of look under the hood and click in the cells and see what is happening there. And it's such a great accessible way for teachers to start to expand their Google Sheets and formula knowledge, because they have a starting point that they can simply modify. And so even though some of these ideas of conditional formatting and formulas may seem overwhelming, when you're given a template to start from and that template shows those cells and the source of how that's working, it's just a really great way to kind of that reverse engineer and start to understand, oh my gosh, I never thought about using conditional formatting to color in blocks, to have, to complete a maze. I've only thought about it to highlight my bad grades red and my good grades green, right? So like, even for teachers that have started to use features like conditional formatting, having some of these more graphical, early learning experiences as a template from somebody like Julie is a great way for people to start to understand under the hood what might be happening so that they can recreate it or modify it to fit their needs.
You're so correct, Jen. And that's how I learn. So everything I learn about Sheets, it's from looking under the hood when educators share amazing resources.
Speaking of amazing resources, where can people go to find more amazing resources from the Google Educator New England group?
Why, that would be gegnewengland.com.
Lots of great stuff over there, guys. Check it out. We are here every single month live on Thursdays at 8:15. We would love to have you here. We are at that point in time in the show where everyone's asking, how do I plan these things? Is there a way we can take a sheet and a book and plan? Is there a way, Jolie, that we can do all of these things together at the same time?
Usually I only share 1 or 2 slides, but I was just so excited about Google Sheets. I couldn't stop. Google Sleep will be later. But I love using my plan book. So my plan book was created with Google Sheets. So if you click on that image, you're going to see a template that you may access to share all of your lessons with your colleagues or your administrators, stay organized. And once again, I just go down to the bottom and there's a template down there that I just edit every week. And I love that I can just duplicate the tabs every week. I can enter information into the cells. I can enter the links, and I can just, it's just so easy to keep adding to my plan book every week, inserting images and all the important links, and just going back and revisiting, the plan books each year and seeing, where I was at last year. And this is just a great way for me to stay organized. I've used docs, calendars, slides. I've used all different Google Workspace apps to create my plan book. And I have just found that Google Sheets is my favorite way to stay organized each week.
This looks impossible. What teacher gets a lunch break at the same time every single day?
Well, this is just a mock-up, but
Oh, okay.
it's a lot of fun.
All right, sorry. I was just making sure. Like, you guys can follow me on that one. Okay, so really,
nobody gets an hour either, so we know that it's fake, Jolie.
right now, if the graphic was of a copy machine and it said the word lunch, like that would make more.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along, we have to ask the question, are there more things that you can do with Google Sheets? And, Jen, Thomas, you got a couple things here.
I do. I feel completely out of my league. I am so fortunate to work with these amazing Google Sheet experts, and I just have to go sit in a room by myself after this and digest everything that I've learned, because this has been amazing. So Flippy is a great website that allows you to create games for your students, and you can either do that right on the Flippity website, or you can take data from a spreadsheet and use the templates that the games give you and upload that information to the templates and create games. Like you can see here, flashcards. I use the random name picker a lot for students, or if I'm doing PC with them. There's scavenger hunts with locks. There's bingo. If you go to the flippity.net site, definitely click on that screenshot right there. It's going to take you to the site, and you'll be able to scroll down and look at all of the game options. And within each of those boxes of all the games, you can click on a demo link or instructions. And for many of them, they do have a Google Sheet template that's already built in, and all you need to do is add in your own data. So it's pretty awesome. I have used it with students in the past, like I said, but mostly it's that the generator. I don't think I actually realized how many options there were in Flippity until I went on and saw there's so much stuff that you can do. So like for flashcards, you can take any kind of data that you have for students, and there's a game, kind of a Jeopardy type game that you can do, and it's all built for you, so you don't have to stumble through creating Google Slides from scratch or anything like that. It's all built, which is great. And then on the site, I also included the wonderful Jen Judkins video tutorial on Flippy, and also Eric Kurtz too, because he has great blogs on games that can use Flippy.
I hear a lot of great things about Eric Kurtz and spreadsheets, and I want to give him a big shout out to things. You can, of course, find out all the information about Eric Kurtz over at controlaltachieve.com. And I know that everybody here is loving to do great Google Sheets things, but is there an activity that we can all do at the same time? Is there something that we can all kind of jump in and join here? And I figured, to wrap this up, let's do a little roundtable here. Would anybody like to share with us a little bit about what we're going to be talking about as we wrap up tonight's episode?
Sure, I can. So Google just released Tab Maker. So Tab Maker is really exciting. It allows you to create a tab extension in 5 easy steps. And this extension is created using Google Sheets. So what you do is you modify their templates and you insert images to create a template that you want to share and push out as an extension. And then once you create this template, you download it as a zip file, and you can upload it into the Chrome Web Store and push out your own extension. So I have not used it. I've just checked it out, but I was super impressed. And I keep thinking about the possibilities with this new tool.
What are the possibilities of this new tool?
I would love to see students use it. So you think about, it's another great introductory real world type of activity for kids so that they're not just confined to a spreadsheet. They can see that what they're doing with numbers and letters and things like that within those cells can then start building something outside of it. And it's something that could be shared as well. And I think that's a really interesting way to get kids introduced to sheets.
So as you guys can see out there, there's a lot of great things that we can do with Google Sheets, but there's even more things we can do with our youngest of learners. Please join us next month on December 16th at 8:15 Eastern when we're going to be talking about all the great Google Workspace things that you guys can do for our little learners, especially those K to 2s, and maybe we'll do a couple things for the pre-Ks as well on that stuff. Let me do a quick round robin. Where can we learn more about the great things that you guys are doing? Feel free to plug your websites, anything. I'm going to start with our good friend, Jennifer Thomas.
Thanks, Jeff. You can find me on Twitter at BlendedLibGirl.
Nice. Eric.
You can find me on Twitter at elawson1977.
Nice. Jolie.
You may find me on Twitter at Jolie Boucher.
Jennifer.
I'm on Twitter at Teaching Forward and online at teachingforward.net.
And Edith.
You can find me on Twitter at E_Fogarty with an A.
And Christina.
Connect on Twitter. I'm at Mrs. D, MRSDI.
And of course, you can find all the great things that we're doing over on teachercast.net. Lots of amazing things, but that's not the only website we want to talk about tonight. Where can we find more information? Mr. Judkins, where can we find this amazing bunch of resources?
So visit us at gegnewengland.com. You can sign up for our mailing list, and that would allow you to get our really slick and greatly condensed list of monthly updates and free PD available for teachers targeting our audience, which is really helpful because there are constantly new things happening in the world of Google. And it's great to be able to have other educators filtering that down and curating those resources for you, save you some time and help you to make the most of these tools with your kids.
There are so many great things that you can do out there in the world of Google Workspace and Google Sheets. I hope tonight you were able to find at least one or two things. If you found this thing helpful, please make sure that you leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and share this with your friends. And if you're a coach out there, take this video and stick it in your Tech Tuesdays. We would love to have you share this. I know in my school, I take these newsletters and I blast them out to my teachers. They love it. So that wraps up this episode of the GEG New England-a-thon. On behalf of everybody here, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.